This is Inside the Wolf's Den, an entrepreneurial journey with Shawn and Joni Wolfswinkle.
Welcome back to Inside the Wolf's Den with your hosts, Shawn and Joni Wolfswinkle. Today we have a special guest for you. We have Mr. Tom Reber. Hey, Tom, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Super excited to have you on today. But before, I'll go ahead and say a little bio on Tom. So Tom Reber, a true powerhouse in the world of sales and leadership. Tom Reber is not your ordinary entrepreneur. He's a force to be reckoned with, a performance coach, HGTV host, and the founder of the Contractor Fight, a global organization that has transformed the lives and business of hundreds of thousands of improvement contractors worldwide. Not only is Tom a trailblazer in the business world, but he also proudly carries the title of United States Marine Corps veteran. The Marine Corps background has instilled in him relentless work ethic and unwavering commitment to excellence. And when he's not busy revolutionizing the business landscape, you might find Tom serving the finest tequila or challenge himself to it with his kettlebells. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
We thank you for your service and hope to enjoy a fine tequila with you someday.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, excited to get deeper into what you do, but why don't you give us a little background on yourself, Tom?
Yeah, I grew up in Wheaton, Illinois, about an hour straight west of Chicago. Grew up there, joined the Marines way back in the day. And I guess that would be 1992 or 88. And got out in 1992. Ended up spending a lot of some time working in my uncle's painting business, running some crews there. And then believe it or not, I tell people this after they get to know me a bit, they laugh at this. Spent some time as a campus minister at the University of Wisconsin. And my ex-wife and I adopted 3 kids.
Wow.
And one of them just got out of the Marine Corps this past Thursday.
That's super
so he's
cool.
home now.
Nice.
And then I got into, started a residential painting business. Sold my half of that company in 2012. Somebody tapped me on the shoulder, asked me to speak at an event about growing a business. And fast forward about 11 years now. And we have this really cool company called the Contractor Fight, where we help home improvement contractors all over the world learn how to run a business and actually make money.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what inspired you to start the Contractor Fight, and how did this really evolve over time?
Well, as more and more people would tap me on the shoulder and ask for guidance, help speaking on sales or marketing or leadership, I just, like many entrepreneurs do, I saw a need in the market to really approach it in a different way. And my style's a little more in your face. The more I yell and scream at guys to stop stealing from their families, the more they join our programs and come to our events and ask me to come do a workshop or something for their company. And it's really just rooted in wanting to make the trades attractive. It's been, if you've tried hiring a contractor recently, you know how hard it is to even get somebody to answer their phone. And there's so much low-hanging fruit out there in the contracting world. And it's filled with really good men and women who are building really cool stuff and trying to help people. But sadly, they're not making the money that they want to make or that they deserve to make. And so we help them with leadership, sales, pricing, marketing, anything, that has anything to do with running a business.
That's awesome. Yeah. I don't know so our background, you probably know us from property management, which we use a lot of trades, obviously, in the property management. We also own a plumbing company in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And it's been an interesting, you're 100% right. Like there's a lot of low hanging fruit and how you can really stand out in this space, just providing good service, answering your phone and going
the basics.
The basics. Yeah. But it's something that's so needed. And it's too bad that kids coming, out of high school and stuff aren't shown that this is a very good career path for a lot of people. it isn't sexy, you know, being a plumber definitely isn't sexy. But it, man, it can provide such a good income and so
Absolutely.
needed in this role, especially as technology. I would think as AI and all these things keep evolving, it's like, we're still going to need somebody to come and, you know, do plumbing in your home, painting, you know, all these things that are going to be replaced. So, anyways, it's awesome that we have you. And I think, what you're doing is a very noble cause.
Needed,
yeah.
sure.
So, but, tell us a little bit about, you know, some of the challenges, that contractors face today and how your company helps them overcome them.
Well, the first is helping them realize that the minute you hang your shingle on the door and open up Tom's painting or whatever it might be, you no longer are allowed to be a craftsperson first. You now have embraced, or you've taken on the role of being a business owner, and that's where we start. That, you know, if you're going to do this, do it right. Run a real business. You know, not to say that craftsmanship and all those things, you know, those skills and that knowledge you've acquired over the years isn't incredibly important. But, you know, we all know if you're not making a profit, you don't have a business.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be able to serve people, and you're not going to be able to recruit people into the trades, which is really needed at this point. So we start with the basics of business, you know, how to price your work, how to market, how to sell, build your brand, communicate, lead your team. And from there we build based upon the size of the business. I mean, we've worked with people that are startups all the way up to $20-30 million businesses. So, and as you know, they all have a different challenge at every new level that you reach. And so as they grow, we grow with them and help them meet those needs.
This is probably a super basic question. And in your opinion, should a contractor start by, have you ever noticed it's always their last name or their first name, whatever. and it's never a good thing, because like what you're saying is like you're starting, then the business is around you.
You are the business.
So my dad did custom cabinetry for 30-40 years in Santa Fe, and it was Wolf Swinkle Enterprises. And it's like, well, their name, you know, is tied to it. So like, I'm just curious that when you're guiding them, I think it goes along with what you're saying, right? It build a business, right? Not a,
right.
Can you speak to that a little bit, or?
Yeah. You know, the naming the business can be tough. You know, I mean, some people say, I don't want to name it after myself because I can't sell it someday. And I've known people that have named it after themselves that have sold their business, you know? So I just think it's going to come down to, are you executing the basics at a really high level consistently? That kind of trumps whatever you might name the business, unless it's something crazy offensive or whatever. But, you know, one of my companies was called Jalapeno Paintworks outside of Chicago. And our tagline was adding spice to your space.
Oh, I like it.
We had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah.
But I've known people that have built multi-million-dollar, super profitable businesses where they've called it Chuck's Carpentry, you know? So I really think it's, I'm personally a fan of giving it a name that's not my own name.
Okay.
You know, if I'm starting a new contracting business tomorrow, I'll probably give it a different name than me.
Yeah.
But, you know, cause I think you have some more options that way. And I like names that tell what you do.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, the Contractor Fight, we named it the Contractor Fight because you got to win the fight between your ears before you win anything else,
That's
you know,
true.
in your business. And so that's where we start with everybody, is we start with how you think and how you approach what you think about yourself and your value, and are you getting oxygen for you and your family every day? And so that's really, you know, a little bit of the story behind the name of the fight.
Oh, that's awesome.
How do you, when you're working with, you know, your clients and all that on that, how do you approach that? Because I feel like a lot of the tradespeople are, you know, that's probably the biggest struggle, because there's
the mindset.
Yeah, they're just part of them. They think they know it all, you know, and especially the old school guys, they're like, you know, stuck in their ways, and that's how plumbing's been doing for 30 years. So why change now?
Right.
But like, so how do you approach them changing that mindset and overcoming that?
And being a true leader, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's a journey. I think it's a journey. Everybody has a has a someday, right? Someday, this is where I want to be. This is the level of success I want to achieve. And so I'll take two different types of people. You got the person who's really struggling in their business. And that's, that really just comes down to, I think, getting into the blocking and tackling of running a business. And most haven't put any time whatsoever into that. When I started my first painting business, I priced my work based on what my uncle charged, because that's all I knew.
Right.
And over time, you educate yourself, you start to job cost, you realize that, hey, maybe these numbers work or they don't work based upon the goals that I have. And so, somebody who's struggling, we encourage them to start with owning your crap. Like, what decisions have you made that have put you in this situation where you're reliving the same unprofitable year 10 years in a row?
That's so true.
You're the common denominator here. Chances are you've had people coming in and out of the business, or maybe you're making some money, but it's feast and famine, and the stress that goes along with that. And I'm laughing because, Shawn, you had said, teaching an old dog new tricks, right? Those are a lot of times we have younger guys that'll listen to our show, and I'm 53, and we'll have young guys in their 20s listening to the show, and we'll get emails and messages going, man, I'm 100% into your methodology and the map that you talk about and all this other stuff. My dad, he's stuck in his ways, and I don't know what to do with him, and how do I make him change his mind? And so we get a lot of those. The other type of business would be somebody that you mentioned a minute ago. They've been in business 20, 30 years. This is the way we've been doing things. To those people, I would encourage them, and maybe they're winning, right? They're winning. But, one of the concepts we talk about a lot here in the fight is how are you choosing to show up after you win? One of my coaches is always in my ear saying, don't be seduced by your own success. And so it's easy to get complacent. And I truly believe there's a lot of contractors out there that are doing a decent job, but they're leaving some meat on the bone. And in profits and impact and building their brand and whatever. And so I encourage those people who have some things that are going right to let's take a step back and identify where we're allowing mediocre days and mediocre performance in the business, and let's take it higher. I believe one of the greatest sins, if you want to use that word, is when we don't play to our abilities. A lot of people just go, oh, this is good enough. And I think good enough is actually probably way more harmful to an organization than the guy who's just struggling and can't pay his bills today.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's along those same lines. I believe probably a lot of the guys that you work with that are having success and probably running a decent, you also got to look at the hours, right, that they're working too. And is it because you can work 60 hours, 80 hours a week and make very good living, but it's like
no quality of life.
Yeah, it comes with other factors, especially in this line of work or different trades. I'm sure you can see that too. And the goal is we all got in business for freedom, for money and freedom, or one buys the other, but so we can have time with our families and a different quality of life. So
absolutely. Tom, can you share some strategies for building a successful contracting business, especially like in today in a competitive market?
That's a loaded question.
I love this question because the key phrase that jumps out to me when you ask that is the phrase competitive market. So if somebody, and this goes for any business, by the way. I mean, I do workshops for non-contractors and stuff like that too, and on occasion. And so I've seen this across the board in all industries. So here's where I might ruffle a feather or two. Stop trying to be competitive.
Yeah.
Okay. In fact, I have a video on YouTube I did years ago that basically the gist of the video is, stop giving a crap what the going rate is, because the going rate is putting you in the gutter. Most business owners, contractors, most business owners, most small business owners don't know their numbers. So why would I care what the going rate is? Why would I base it on 90% of the people in my industry who have no clue what their break-even point is, or what gross profit means, and the difference between, gross profit and net profit? And some of this to your audience might be very remedial, but trust me, there are millions and millions of business owners out there right now who have no clue on this stuff. They just think if I just make a good cupcake or a nice paint job, it's going to take care of itself. And so our first strategy is you do you. You focus on mind your business, right? Yeah. And so, sorry, I do this. One of my daughter's boyfriends, he does air quotes all the time. You know, it's running the whole family. So,
love the air quotes.
I got to sit on my hands or something. So, but, so first and foremost, you got to know your numbers. You got to know your sweet spot. You identify your ideal client. And if you're newer, that's going to take some time, right? You know, you work on some projects, you work with some clients and this and that. Over time, you'll find out who your ideal client is and you'll adjust it. But, so that's number one. Number two is the strategy that we lean on is get oxygen. Like if you don't have sales coming into your business, you're dead. And it's kind of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? You got to have air, you got to have oxygen and food and water. Well, that's what sales are for a business. And sadly, a lot of companies, a lot of business owners will fill up their calendar and then they'll put their head in the hole. And then they'll pop up 6 months later and realize they don't have any more work because they haven't continued to sell and market and build their brand. And so if you want to be a real business, building your brand and marketing and attracting the right prospects to your company and selling those prospects, if you are not fanatical about that, you're really going to struggle. In fact, every day in the Contractor Fight, we have a Slack channel and we get every morning we get what yesterday's sales were. So it's always on the forefront of the radar of our whole team. And if by chance, it's been about 2 years now since we haven't had a day where the cash register didn't ring in our company. But if that were to be the case, if that's the case, we get an automated text from our CRM that basically it's some meme of SpongeBob rolling around at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. If it's 4 o'clock and we haven't had a sale yet, SpongeBob runs around and the words are flashing saying, no sales today, no sales today. And our whole team gets the message and we're like, oh crap. And people start making follow-up calls, or I'll go live on one of our social channels and I'll be like, hey, we got these cool hats in stock or whatever. I don't care if it's a $30 hat or one of our $100,000 coaching programs. It is just unacceptable to not have a day that goes by that you don't ring the cash register. And so I think, what do they say? What you focus on improves.
Yes.
And so if you're focusing on, oh, nobody wants to work, kids are lazy, then you're going to find more of that. And if you're focused on sales every day and lead gen and those types of things, you're going to get more of that. So all of our coaching, as far as strategies go, I'm trying to be strategic here for you, are really rooted in, let's get you thinking right of what's possible. Like I said, don't worry about the going rate. You do you stay in your lane, you build your business. Then it's confidence in numbers. Then it's what we call get eyeballs, which is, identifying and attracting the right prospects. And then the last key to that would be what we call sell unafraid. So one of the sayings that we riff on here all the time is you need to market like your last meal or your next meal depends on it. And you need to sell like you're independently wealthy and not from a point of desperation. And when you have that combination, you have a profitable business that can deliver a better service, hire better people, train those people, give them a true career path, where you don't have this revolving door of personnel in and out of your business and many other benefits.
Yeah, I love all 3 points. Were awesome. But I think a lot of people, I've done it in the past myself, like your first point where I think a lot of business owners or people in the trades they look at their bank account, right? And that's their determination. Like, do we got money in the bank or not? But that doesn't matter. That's not really what, if they're making money or not, and so, I think really knowing your numbers. And then the second point, I love how you have like a visual in your CRM and it seems like everything's automated. So like you're constantly putting in front of them, hey, what are our numbers? What's our KPIs? And if you're not hitting those, there's some kind of automatic, signal for you to signal your staff or your team to, hey, we got to make a sale today, or we got to do that. So anyways, that was some huge,
and one other strategy or mindset, if you want to call it that I encourage people with is, you identify what you want. We all know this. You identify what you want, you reverse engineer the steps to get there, and you do the steps.
Right.
Yeah. So
I rarely ever focus on the end result. Once I've identified the steps, or AKA the process, right? Just work the process. Just trust the process, and base your success that day, if it's a win or a loss, on, did I control the controllables? Did I take the actions on the things that needed to be done each day? And if so, I can high five myself, regardless of what the end outcome would be. When I'm talking to a home improvement contractor who might be a remodeling contractor doing, $150,000 kitchens, it's very unlikely he's actually going to sell one every day.
Correct.
Right. However, what do they have control over? Him or her and his sales team. It's connecting with their past clients and, hey, how's the kitchen looking after a year or two? It's prospecting. It's, being active on social. It could be doing sales role plays to get better. There's so many things that you can do each and every day that would count that day as a win. So I know there's people listening to this that where it might be weeks or a month or more that be between transactions because of the size of those transactions. But what are you doing in those unseen hours between ringing the register is really what's going to count.
Yeah.
And that's
you hit something right there with the customer service part, right? Like reaching out to clients, building those relationships over time, because talk about the importance of just that, customer service and the building relationships.
Well, I'll give one to your audience right now. We call them UITs, unexpected intentional touches. And it's as simple as this. You go into your phone. I like doing it via text. Okay. And there's other apps out there. Like another app it's got this little golden bear on it at the bottom there. It's called Bonjoro.
Nice.
It's a email thing where you send a video via email and you can tell if they've opened it and they can reply. So I use a combination of both, but, and we have just came to mind, one of our general contractors in 2022, 38% of his revenue was generated by these UITs.
Wow.
And it's maybe do 3 of these a day. It might take you 5 minutes. It might take you 10 minutes. I'll send a video via text and I'll go, hey, Joni, it's Tom with Tom's Construction. Just thinking about the garage we built for you last year or XYZ. When you get a minute, hit me back. Let me know how it's looking. Have a great day.
Yeah.
Done. Maybe you did a loan for somebody, right? You did whatever. And you're like, hey, I was just thinking about, the home you bought last year. I just wanted to just follow up. How's it going? I know you mentioned you had dreams for this, that, and the other thing. How's that coming? Just this quick little touch that's unexpected, but it's intentional. And the compound effect of that over time. When I do these workshops, one of the things I say is if I'm just a strict salesperson, I'm not even the owner, and say there's 265 sales days in a year, maybe you take out weekends and holidays times 3, you do 3 of those a day. It's about 800 touches. Okay. You're not going to go 0 for 800 in a year. I promise you. And so I was in a workshop a couple weeks ago, and I had everybody in the workshop send one when I was talking about this. I said, everyone just take a minute and send one to a past customer. And about 30 minutes later, the owner of the company, this guy's been in business 40 years. He raises his hand, and the last half an hour he's been on his phone. I could tell he's like texting or something. Yeah. And he raises his hand and I go, what's up? He says, hey, that thing you just had us do? I said, yeah. He says, I just sold a $50,000 project.
Wow.
Okay. And this is huge because the cost of leads, acquiring a new customer, all those different things in business, most businesses neglect the people right under their nose in their own database that have already given them money. This also works for people that have gone into witness protection, that we call it. You give somebody a bid and then they disappear, you follow up, they don't call you back, whatever it might be. I've done it where I got 10 minutes to kill. I'm like, go through all the open, that we never got a yes or no on, or even if you got a no. And I'm going to send it. I'm going to go, hey, Shawn, it's Tom with such and such. Last year we were talking about XYZ. I'm curious if you ever had the work done. And every now and then you'll snag one that way too, because life happens. Maybe somebody passed away in the family and they put the project on hold, and maybe they moved. You never know what's going on. And this is all rooted in, by the way, this experience, UITs, and these touches. One of our sales coaches, Derek, every interaction he has with a human being, I'm doing the hand thing again. I have a point though. He pictures them wearing a sign around their neck that says, "Make me feel important." Imagine how your sales game would change, how your customer service game. If you have a retail store, somebody walks in and you train your people to just say, I want you to picture, make me feel important, how much differently we're going to show up, how much more engaged. We're going to not blow off the UIT. We're going to just send that quick text. And again, there's no big home run here. What's the saying? Small hinges swing big doors. So you stack enough of these small wins consistently over time, and I think you'd be blown away by how much more profit, revenue, and all that good stuff that comes towards your business.
I love that, because it doesn't matter what business it is, right? It works. And you said one key word there, being intentional with it. Yeah. Wow, there's a lot of value there.
We have, if you ask my wife, she's upstairs right now. If I just yelled upstairs right now, hey, who do you wish would call you right now? She would tell you our painter. Okay. Young couple started this business, small business. They did her interior a year and a half ago. They did her exterior a year and a half ago. We were doing a bunch of work in the house. They have done zero contact with us since. I don't dislike these people. They're good people, and they just don't know what they don't know. They don't understand the power of this. And in fact, I talk about this on the podcast. I talk about this on my Instagram, on my YouTube channel, where I say my painter. And the funny thing is, she likes the posts and she still doesn't. Okay.
You're like, hello, so anyway, I'm talking about you.
And I don't know if she's just embarrassed at this point, but if they would text the queen, that's what we call my wife. She's the queen. All right. Her name's Lee. If they were to text Lee and say, hey, Lee, it's so-and-so. It's been almost 2 years. Just wanted to see how the paint job's looking. Her reply would be, it looks amazing, but I have a bunch of other things I want to talk to you about. Right now, I guarantee there's a $20,000 paint project in my house.
Totally.
Sitting there waiting. And that's, again, I'm going to vamp on sales here for a second. Most salespeople are waiters. They wait they're like baby birds.
Yeah.
Feed me the lead, boss. Hey, Google, send me a lead. Okay. And I get it. We all want to just push a button and spend a little money and a bunch of qualified leads come in. Right. But there are millions of dollars sitting right under our noses, but we're just sitting back and we're waiting. We're not hunters. We're order takers as a whole, as salespeople. And so anybody listening in any industry right now, I encourage you to just put together a quick hunting plan, and just take 15 to 20 minutes a day. Another thing here is if you offer a service that has a warranty, we coach our members to do what we call warranty calls. So if I did a project for you guys at your house, and a lot of contractors have like a 1-year warranty, because usually if something's going to go wrong, it's within a year, right? 2 months or so before the warranty is up. And here's how you do this if you don't want to get crazy with the CRM. I sell you guys a project. We finish the project. You hand me the check. I walk out to my truck. I record, hey, remind me on April 15th, 2024 to call Shawn and Joni about their warranty. It's done. And then damn near every day of the week, you got a reminder popping up. And this is how it goes. I'm going to call you up. And Shawn, maybe you answer the phone and I go, hey, it's Tom, we did your project. You're like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, hey, listen, I just want to let you know your warranty's up in a couple months and it's time to schedule your warranty visit. And Shawn's going to go, what's that? Okay. And I'm going to say, well, it's just a time where we could come out, put eyes on the project and address anything that might be an issue before it becomes a problem. That way you're not on the hook for it later on and there's not any issues and blah, blah, blah. It'll take about 15 minutes. Now, two things have happened. I'm back in the yard. I'm back in the house. We're reconnecting on that relationship. 90% of the time, there's not an issue. If there is, you just fix it right away. Not a big deal. And then the law of reciprocity kicks in. Okay. Where you did something good for them, people often feel obligated. And so when I did these in one of our companies in the past, about 35 to 40% of the time we did a warranty call led to additional work while we were out there. Hey, since you're here, we were thinking about, Junior graduated college and he doesn't need a bedroom here anymore because he's got his own apartment. We're going to convert his bedroom into the naked room or whatever. Right. So, and we need a price on this. And so there's just all these simple, not overwhelming activities that anybody could take. I mean, we've done it where maybe you have an admin assistant who's got some downtime through the day. What if they picked up the call and did a UIT? Right? What if they did a warranty call? And again, you got, I spoke at an event where the average company in the room had like 8 to 10 salespeople. Well, then you start doing the math, 800 times 8, 10 people of these touches. You can see how quickly the zeros start compounding here. So
I love it.
Yeah. I got some ideas for myself, Tom. Thanks.
So some things that we are not doing in our plumbing company. I'm going to play devil's advocate. So, because I'm sure you get these guys in your meetings, in your rooms and stuff like that. So the guy that, I'm just going to use a plumber because I can pick on plumbers. But they're going to claim that like, well, somebody's got it. Like, so say they don't have 8 salespeople and they're just,
they are the salesperson.
Yeah, they are the salesperson. They're also the plumber, and they're just trying to get there. So, like I think you mentioned them earlier. Where they might get a series of work and jobs, but then they're not doing these items. Or, I guess, what do you recommend to the guy that hey, I have to go fulfill or service the work, fulfill it, and then but also play salesman and play. I don't have time. That's what they're going to claim. But to really build it, to get over that hump, to maybe get a salesperson or a BDM and all that. So I don't know. Yeah. What you recommend?
So yeah, great question. 2-part answer. The first is hire a VA. Start with a VA.
Yeah.
And make that one of their duties. Okay. Because it has to be done. I mean, you could choose not to do it. That's fine. And you can continue to work harder than you need to. Yeah. Okay. The second side of that, I don't know how this applies necessarily with everyone on here, but in the contracting industry, the average home improvement contractor, when they go do a bid, it's about 4 hours of their life. There and back in traffic.
Yes.
Standing there talking about the project. They like you. They offer you pop. I've sat on a guy's back deck and had a cigar and a whiskey before and this and that. I think they're going to hire me. They loved me. We had all this in common. And then we send over the proposal and next thing you know, they're in witness protection and I can't find them anymore. Right. And so point is this sounds self-serving, but I have a point to it. We teach a process of how to pre-qualify people in 10 to 15 minutes on a phone call before we set foot on their property, before we have that sales meeting where we talk about, it's a 5-step problem. The motive. People buy for their reasons, not my reasons. So let's figure out their reasons, right? If I think we're a good fit, then we're going to move into what something like this might cost. And we'll talk broad strokes, budget, top and bottom. If they're cool with that, then we basically get them to invite us out. Okay. We address, step 4 is called is influencers. Who else is excited to do this project? Oh, it's my wife. Hey, what do you think she's going to feel about the $20,000 budget? Like that way you avoid, I got to talk to my wife. And then our 5th step, which some use, some don't use, and I can make the case either way, is a consultation fee. Okay. So if you want me to come out and just repeat what I've told you in 10 minutes on the phone for free, that it's going to be $15,000 to $20,000 to do this project, blah, blah, blah. And you still want to go get other bids, but you want me to come out, our time isn't free for that. Now we'll apply it towards the job and stuff. So what we do is we teach, and I think any salesperson could do this, is up front, have that pre-qualification conversation. So you're not spending all this crazy time on people that are never going to hire you. Mm-hmm. And the way you do it with the right spirit of the conversation and tonality and all those different things, they think it's their idea to not work with you, but really you're weeding them out. So this often frees up at least half of the sales time for a contractor. Mm-hmm. So what we hear a lot is when we teach this sales process, the contractor now has more time to work in the field if they still work in the field, or to work on the business, to train people, to prospect, to build affiliate relationships, whatever they want to do to build their business, because they've recovered about 50% or more of their unicorn chasing time, or what we call living on Hope Island. Yeah. So
that's good.
Yeah. Going back to your ideal client, right?
Yeah.
I mean, are they pre-qualified? And I mean, you may not want to work with them either. We do that in our property management company. If they don't have any money to spend, then, on maintenance, that's probably not your ideal client.
Yeah,
exactly.
So tell us a little bit, obviously the world's changed over the last couple of years, or think it's a interesting climate where recession, whatever, doom's gloom, a lot of news says right now, but where do you think the future of the contracting industry or the home improvement industry is headed? And do you see any opportunities and challenges ahead?
Yeah, I do. For a long time, now let's back up a couple of years. When COVID hit, right around that time forward, we've started to hear a lot more in the media about, it's so hard to find people. Mm-hmm. The contracting industry has been having that conversation for decades.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's nothing new to us. So, that being said, I believe the opportunity is huge for a contractor who truly wants to run their business like a business, who pays attention to I don't think anything we've talked about today so far has been advanced.
No.
Right? It's, and I would argue that, a lot of people are like, I want to scale and grow the business. That's just doing the basic stuff better and at a larger scale. Right? Mm-hmm. And so for those that are paying attention and really focused in on knowing their numbers, what it costs per day to run my business and what I need to charge, make me feel important when you deal with people, all those little things. It's answering the phone, it's calling somebody, basic communication stuff. There are millions and millions of dollars of profit for people out there, in the trades right now. Now, I also understand there's people that they want to keep a smaller business. They like working with their hands. I don't judge that at all. I'm not saying everybody has to never put the tools on. And if you love doing it, do it. Just make sure you're making bank,
right?
And you're building. Most contractors get to the end of their career and don't have anything to show for it. And so I think there's huge opportunity there. I think one of the biggest opportunities, and this is just my own take, is I have seen such a swing in the last 10 years from old style business stuff like, haven't said this in 10 years, yellow pages, things like the yellow pages and, just things that were appropriate at the time. Right. In the contracting world, it swung from, I don't have a CRM, I don't have a website, to this crazy swing of automation, where automating conversations, just creating websites that have all the pricing, which I think you should have pricing on your websites, but it's like near impossible to talk to human beings. So I think the big opportunity is for those contractors who use technology to support them, but get back to a little more of that human touch.
Yes.
And I don't care. You pick a company right now, call their 800 number. You're talking to a machine. There's a bunch of prompts. And that's why the value of a handwritten card. That's why the value of a UIT. That's, if you guys know Andy Frisella.
Love him.
Okay. Andy is famous, at least I heard from him, saying many years ago, scale the unscalable. What are those things that are not scalable? Go all in on those things. And that's where we came up with the UITs and warranty calls and stuff. We do not do these UITs in a blanket text to 30,000 people.
Correct.
It is a one-by-one. So I think a big opportunity is people want more connection in the world, and any business that can do that, I think, is going to have an edge.
That would set you apart.
Yeah,
Yep.
I love
it.
And I noticed that when you said your follow-ups and all that, you mentioned like you were very specific about like the garage door that you were not. It wasn't like, hey, we did work at your home
Repairs.
a year ago. Very generic, because you can tell those emails and like you delete them because you're like, it's an automated thing. But if you got specific on, maybe it was like putting in that pool for your family and how I don't know what some specific to them and their needs.
Or you talk to them about their family, like how's your wife doing, those kind of things that just builds that relationship and that connection.
Yeah. So
if somebody's got to get the home ready for, we're in graduation season now, right? So it's like, we just had our 2 youngest daughters just graduated, and we were doing a lot to get the house ready. We had companies in here doing stuff and in the yard and this and that. Think of what it would be like a month after the party to get a phone call or a text. Just go, hey, Joni, it's Tom with Tom's whatever.
Yeah.
I know you had a lot going on and a lot to get ready for Iris's graduation party. That's one of our daughters. And I'm just curious how it went.
Yeah. I mean, I'd probably still have that handwritten card somewhere,
Yeah. Or you'd be telling your friends about it. You'd be, because it's uncommon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, again, I'm all for automation. I'm all for
making life easier, but
running an ad that's going to work. And
Right.
I get that, but I really think the edge in reputation and the edge in profit is going to come down to these things that are not scalable.
Love it.
So
Awesome.
we have some questions we ask all our guests on the show, and one of them is, if you could go back into your just a few years back, your early 20s, what advice would you give yourself?
Ooh, boy. I would probably, all right, first of all, I probably wouldn't change anything. Okay.
Sure.
Because I believe what I did, what I went through, mistakes, you name it, made me who I am. And I really like who I am first and foremost. But if I go back in a time machine right now, pop up to 20-year-old Tom, I would go, you just keep being you. You're going to figure this out and you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Like that would be my advice. And, because there were some, I mean, listen, I wrote a book called Winning the Contractor Fight, and I was in my early 20s when I got out of the Marine Corps. I was working for my uncle. It was a hot summer day. I'm sitting in this $400 beater car that I bought at a toll booth on I-88 outside of Chicago in Aurora, Illinois. I had just gotten off work. I'm covered with stain, from working all day, and it's just nasty. And I look next to me, and there's this guy in this nice car. He had nice hair and air conditioning. And I remember hating him, and I remember a guy like that. Or I remember, I painted a house for a guy that at the time he was like, he was building this $2 million house, and he was a stockbroker guy. And I remember thinking, I'll never be a guy like that. I'll never be a guy that could go out and drop $1,000 on dinner if he felt like it. I'll never be the guy that can order from the left side of the menu instead of the right side where the price is.
Yeah.
And so that version of Tom, and this is a whole nother 5 shows probably, but I believed my whole life I was stupid. I literally rode this short bus and was in special ed for 2 years in grade school. And so I thought success was for other people. Now, mind you, I was a decorated Marine. I was a decorated athlete. Like I had all this other evidence, but I still had this ball and chain around me that I was stupid, that I Rebers never make money. Like nobody in my family ever really made any money. And so I remember, for back to the point of this, if the 53-year-old Tom had come back and said, dude, you're going to be just fine, that would have meant a lot.
Wow. Love it. Tom, what's your next? What are you looking to accomplish in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah. So, quick history lesson. I had a 1-season show on HGTV that was called Unfinished Business. It's streaming on Discovery now. And that was a great experience. They chose not to renew the show, which is fine. And so I've been plotting my next TV show. And in fact, today I just had a conversation with a producer that I know, and we're looking at that as kind of the next big move for the fight. But other than that, whether that happens or not, we're on this quest to make being a contractor attractive and bring respect and dignity back to the trades. And that starts with the contractor respecting themselves. And so we're just trying to do what we're already doing at a stronger and bigger level. And obviously there's strategies and tactics to all that, but I think we've got a pretty good cheeseburger right now. We just need to get it in the hands of more people. And that's what fires me up. I mean, I love being able to, most of the feel good messages we get are like, dude, your program or this, that, or the other thing saved my marriage.
Yeah.
Or after 12 years of being in business, I was finally able to take my family on a vacation. Or, we have a guy who's now one of our coaches, paid off $1 million worth of debt in 3 years, just by implementing some of these things. That's why we do it. It's I give a crap about your business. Really. I care more about your life, because you can always start a new business. You can always find a way to make money. Yeah. This just happens to be your thing. Cool. But I just look forward to having a bigger impact. And that's why we're always looking for that next way to have that impact.
Awesome.
Well, I love your niche, and I think what you're providing out there is awesome. We have a lot of contractors and business owners that listen to the show. We're part of a franchise, Neighborly Franchises. So this right here can add so much value to them. So how can they get a hold of you if they want to, know more about the Contractor Fight and what you offer?
Yeah, it's real simple, thecontractorfight.com, or they can connect with me on Instagram at real Tom Reber.
Awesome. We'll put that
we also have, just if people like podcasts, because they're listening to this, we have the Contractor Fight Podcast. We're closing in on about 800 episodes. And we've cracked the top 100 on entrepreneurship a few times, and super proud of that. And it's, don't listen to it with little kids in the car, especially if I'm doing a solo episode. But I have a question for you.
Go for it.
See, I see the host in me can't help it. So, all right. In your line of work, if you waved a magic wand over the contracting world and tomorrow you woke up and something was different or better, what would it be?
Good question.
I wanted to change the contracting world. Oh, I think when we talked about it, I feel, the school system's already, the school system's already, I don't know if this is possible. You said a magic wand, so I'm going to use the magic wand.
Or I'll rephrase it to, maybe this will be easier. What do you wish contractors knew?
Well, let me answer my first thought real quick. So I wish that school systems and we would get back to teaching the trades in school. And there's a ton of kids out there that don't
manage money or a bank account.
But they're not cut out to go to college, and so I wish there would be programs and people to get into the trades coming out of, I think, so some kind of education platform to help, the 16 to 20-year-olds, transition in and show them that it's a really decent career for them to make a good living for their families long term. So that's my wish, I guess. Yeah. That'd be my biggest one. And contractors knew, I would say going back to a lot of what you already said, you said some really good topics, but knowing their numbers and truly and knowing their numbers on the marketing end. So many of them just throw money against the wall and see what's, generate, I'll spend $10,000 on this. And they have no clue what performance or what it's returning to them in their business. And they're just busy, and so they really need to know, I think, knowing your numbers. And I know that sounds generalized, but like know their numbers on the marketing end, know their profit and loss statements, knowing their each job, was that job profitable? Because you can get into a lot of jobs that where you spend a fortune amount of hours, and it's really lose money on it. So that's where, so going back to what you already talked about, I don't know.
Thanks for letting me put you on the spot.
Yeah, that was good. And we're gonna have all your information in the show notes, so people can reach out to you and touch base with you. Do you have like coaching programs, or do you have? Obviously, you do. But is there? Are you doing like boot camps or seminars, or is it?
Yeah. So our main program is called Battleground. We got about 400 contractors in that program currently, and it grows every month. Where it's group coaching on steroids. You get a lot of fanatical attention from myself and the other coaches within that group. I do workshops for, larger companies, in or out of the trades on sales and leadership. And then every year we have an event called Mile High Profit Summit, that happens in September in the Denver area, or at least the last 2 years. And then this year, 23, it's the last week of September. Cool. In Denver. And we're considering moving it around the Southwest here. We'll see what happens with that. But for now it's in Denver, and that's an event with about 450, 500 contractors that come there every year for that. And we bring the goods for about 3 days. So
that's awesome.
That's great. Yeah. Awesome.
Cool. Well, we'll be in Denver, in October?
In October. So maybe we'll have to hit you up and take you out to dinner or something.
I'll drive up. We'll take you guys to dinner. Our pleasure.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tom, for being on the show today. I'm excited for this to drop, and we will see everyone next time. See ya.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Inside the Wolf's Den, an entrepreneurial journey with Shawn and Joni Wolfswinkle. Tons of entrepreneurial podcasts are out there. Talking. But Joni and Shawn are living it every single day. Their portfolio now includes many franchises and medium-sized businesses. We talk about the trials and motivators of successfully running a business. Join us again soon for another podcast. But until then, reach out on the website at InsideTheWolfsDen.com, on Facebook at Inside the Wolf's Den, on Instagram at Inside the Wolf Den. We'll see you again soon. This is Inside the Wolf's Den. We'll see you next time.